Hi everyone. In this video we're going to look at how to do area problems with trigonometry, and it's not going to be a very long video, I hope. But before we do that, before I get into it, I just want to recap the last few weeks because we've done a lot of trigonometry and it's a really important topic and you kind of need to know it quite well. So these are all the things we've looked at in the last few weeks and I just want to run through them. Okay, so remember right angle triangles, we did SOHCAHTOA, which you can use on right angle triangles only. But also remember Pythagoras, from what you did in year 9, also works on right angle triangles. So if you have right angle triangle, Pythagoras and SOHCAHTOA are the two kind of main ones that you can use to solve certain problems like working out missing sides and missing angles. But any other triangle, any other type of triangle, a non-right angle triangle, then these are the new ones which we've discussed. The cosine rule, and remember these are the two versions of it. The top one is for working out missing sides, and the bottom one is for working out missing angles. And if you can't remember how to use them, it's probably a good idea to maybe watch the video again. And then this is the sine rule. Remember, it also helps you work out missing sides and missing angles. There is two versions of it. This one here, where you've got the sine of the angle on the top, is for working out missing angles. If you write it upside down, this is not the best idea, but if you write it the other way down, the other way around, sorry, if you flip the fractions with the sides on top, then that is for working out missing sides. Okay, so that's missing angles, oops, and then this is missing sides. Okay, so if you're not sure, go back and watch the video on this. Now, just before I get into how to work out the area of a triangle using trigonometry, I just want to give you a quick rundown of the 3 videos that are on this lesson. Okay, the first video is me telling you how to use the formula. So I'm going to tell you the formula, how to use it. That's the first video. The next video is how to kind of solve problems using the formula. So like problem solving with a formula, which you might get asked. The third video is one where it explains where the formula comes from. Now that video, I'm going to leave it up to you to decide if you want to watch that third video, because if you feel like, you know what, I'm happy with the formula and I know how to do problems with it, then that third video, I'm going to leave that up to you, because that formula explains where the formula comes from, and it might be good for your development to see where it comes from, or you can quite easily figure out for yourself. But that third video is optional, so if you want to watch that, it kind of explains to you where the formula comes from, and that's entirely up to you if you want to watch the third one. But please make sure you watch the first 2, because they're really important for doing questions and solving problems. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so the area of a triangle. Now, if we kind of recap how to work out the area of a triangle, you know from year 7 and probably primary school, to work out the area of a triangle, it's a half base times height, or some of you do base times height divided by 2, but just remember they're the same thing. Multiplying something by a half is the same as dividing by 2. So a half base times height, or base times height divided by 2. You've been taught that since primary school probably. And here's, for example, here's a triangle, here's the base. And when we say height, remember we mean perpendicular height, which is the height from the floor straight up. So for example, this triangle here, if I make this the base, so if I make that the base, then the perpendicular height would be how high that is, that top corner, how high it is from kind of like the base itself. So imagine that's the floor, then the height would be how high it is from the floor straight up. Okay, so that's what we mean by the height, and really we should say perpendicular height, because that's really what it is. It's the height straight up from the floor. So you would just do the base times however high it is, and then half that, and that's the area of the triangle. But what do you do if you have something like this, where you've got the base, but the height is unknown. So you don't know the height. And the other information is that you've got the 36 degrees and 9 there. Or what do you do here, for example? You've got two sides and the angle between them, but I mean, for example, you could rotate it round to visualize it. So maybe you put the 4.6 on the floor and had the 25 here and the 5 centimeters here. So imagine I just kind of rotated this round that way. Then how would you work out the area of that triangle? I mean, you can do a bit of SOHCAHTOA, couldn't you? You could easily work out how high that is using SOHCAHTOA. And that's kind of like one way to go about it. The third video explains that really, really well. But I'm just going to get into the trig formula, okay? So this here is the trig formula for working out the area of a triangle using trigonometry. And it's so easy. It's the easiest thing in the world. And let me explain to you how it works, okay? This formula is really simple. All you need to know, I'm not even going to explain the algebra really, I'm just going to explain the description. If you want to work out the area of a triangle and you don't know the height of it, then if you know two sides, how long two sides are, and the angle between those two sides, then you can use this formula to work out the area of it. So for example, let's say I have this triangle here. I know the base, and then I know this side here, and I know the angle between those two sides. So here, for example, this is one side. I know how long this red side is, and I know how long this side is, and I know the angle between them. Then this formula is so easy. It says if you want to work out the area of that triangle, then all you need to do is a half times the length of one side that you know, times the length of the other side, times sine of the angle between them. Now I just put C, degrees, for the angle between them, but you can use whatever letter you want. You don't even need to use A and B, but literally it's so easy. Let me kind of get a highlighter. You just need to know two sides, that's your A and your B, and then the angle between those two sides, and all you do is just you plug them in the formulas. I can't really explain it any more than that really. It's just a half times one side times the other side times sine of the angle between them, and that's the trig part really. The trig part is sine of the angle between them. Now if you want to know where this formula comes from, I mean, it's so easy, you can figure out for yourself, but the third video explains it really well, and you can watch that third video and it explains it really well, so you can see where it comes from. But let's just kind of get into it. Let's actually just look at how to use this formula and work out area of triangles. So here's the two triangles that we had, and for example, the only time that you use this formula is when you don't know the perpendicular height. So if you knew the height, just do base times height divided by 2. But here, you can clearly see I don't know what the height is, but I have two sides. Here's my two sides, and the angle between them. So all I need to do is, here's the formula, so it's a half A, B, sine C. That's the way you should remember it, but I'm just going to plug the numbers in. Now, it doesn't really matter which one's A and which one's B, so I'm just going to, I don't know, put A here and B there. And then C's the angle between those two sides. So I'm just going to plug it in, so it's a half times 15 times 9 times sine of the angle between them. So I'm going to have to use the calculator to work that out. So a half times 15 times 9 times sine 36 is 39.7 to 1 dp. Now the units, what would the units be? Okay, well these are centimeters, so this would be centimeters squared, and that is the area of that triangle to 1 dp. And the great thing about this formula is that you don't need to do any silly kind of spinning the triangle around. It's so simple. As long as you know two sides and the angle between them, you can work out the area. So here, for example, I know these two sides and the angle between them. So I'm not even going to bother labeling it. I'm just going to go straight into the formula. This is going to be a half times 5, which is one side, times 4.6, which is the other, times sine of the angle between them, which is 25. And I'm just going to work that out. So half times 5 times 4.6 times sine, what's the angle? 25. And the answer is, what's that? Did I do that right? Yeah, so 4.9 centimeters squared. That is the area of that triangle. And what you should do is do that for yourself and see if you get the same answer. And if you didn't, it's probably because your calculator is in the wrong setting. Remember, you need to see a little D at the top of the calculator, or DEG, which stands for degrees. If there's a little R or a G or the word rad or grad, then it's in the wrong setting. So make sure it's in that degree setting. And don't pause the video just yet. Hang on a second. Okay, so what I want you to do is work out the area of this triangle. So that's 12 centimeters, that's 7 centimeters. The angle between them is 100 degrees. So work out the area of that triangle. So pause the video, do it, and then unpause the video and see if you get it right. Okay, so this is what you should have done. The area is equal to a half times 7 times 12 times sine of 100. Okay, so let me do that now. Times 7 times 12 times sine of 100. So you should have got 41.4 centimeters squared to 1 dp. Right. The next video, so remember, you got to watch this video and the next one. The next one, we kind of do a bit of problem solving on it. So watch the next video as well, please, guys. Thank you very much.